It's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute after the show today. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I always begin with this question. 6 years ago, this pandemic was changing our lives, changing the trajectory for all of us. How did you get through that era, and how has it influenced the way that you work and live today?
Well, I think everything kind of changed for me starting in 2018. So really, the pandemic really like surcharged it because I started questioning everything in 2018. Come 2020, we're stuck at home, and it made me dive deeper, but almost in an extremely hard way also, because you just don't know what's going on with life. There's the
Hmm?
stress of it, the stress of I had young kids at home and I was working. Um, so yeah, I would kind of share things on social media about like just kind of like spiritual teachers I was following. And I had actually my sister reached out. She's like, "Hey, is everything okay?" Because she was kind of worried. And I was like, "Oh no, I guess it kind of comes off that way." But
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like share how I'm getting through it and what's kind of really helped me.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, it was an intense time. I mean, I think it was all of us had a fork in the road. We realized that just we don't have a lot of time, and mortality and spirituality and all of those things kind of came together as one. Um, so let's get into the good work that you're doing right now. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds at Career Day, and one of the kids just wants you to explain what your day job is. How do you do that?
Ooh, this is a good question. Well, I still do work part-time as a civil engineer, and
Okay.
kids probably don't understand that aspect
Right.
either. It's always hard to explain.
Yeah.
But as far as like the life coach guide, I would say I just really help people who feel confused about life
Yeah.
and know that there's something more to life than going to school, getting this job that they really didn't always love. And what makes us happy, what causes unhappiness, and kind of going deeper within to kind of once you realize the true nature of everything, your world kind of gets flipped upside down
Yeah.
and things aren't as serious as they used to be. You notice the thought processes that cause you so much unhappiness, stress, anxiety, and you don't have to necessarily follow all those thoughts that come in. And even with my own kids, it's really interesting. They don't even notice that there's necessarily like thoughts in their mind.
Yeah.
Like they don't differentiate that from themselves.
Interesting. So when did you have this revelation of kind of the depth and just the kind of seeing life in a new way and getting rid of the confusion? Did you have a moment?
It was a process. I mean, it started in 2018 where I grew up in a very religious household where like we didn't talk about it was just heaven and like you have to be good on earth to go to heaven. There was nothing about like reincarnation. So I started kind of getting into that and it kind of transitioned into following more like spiritual gurus and just kind of I really wanted to know like what are they talking about? What
Yeah.
is this like enlightenment, awakening? And then it was in See, I feel like I should look this up. I wrote it down in my journal. I
Yes.
think it was 3 years ago where I just kind of had this moment where everything clicked. And I mean, people say it's like an ego death. And if anybody follows any of like more of the well-known spiritual teachers, they say it's truer death than a physical death.
Wow.
And that's the best way to explain it.
Yeah.
I was listening to a video and it like kind of like my whole perception clicked is the best way I can say
Yeah.
it. And then through that night, I would wake up almost in terror. And the best way to explain it is like my mind was trying to grasp onto something that was leaving, and I couldn't. It was almost like you're floating in space and there's nowhere to grasp onto, is the
Interesting.
best way. And then it was just kind of progression since then. Um, and I mean, I still have attachments to myself. It's not like rainbows and butterflies, I should say.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just a realization that we're not this separate being. Um, we're experiencing life through this human body.
I when I talk to people that have had near-death experiences, I hear a
Hmm.
level of that feeling where it's like there's this warmth and there's this like just absolute everything's okay, but they knew that they had to come back. It wasn't over with yet. They had more to do. And there's always that feeling where it's like what you said with having almost kind of a death and rebirth, the phoenix moment, where you just kind of realize that you're here for certain reasons and there's things that need to be done. But you also get to go on with the knowledge that this other side that people don't know nothing about, you've tasted it, you know what it's like, you felt it. And I think when you talk about religion too, growing up in the Midwest, in the Bible Belt, you're just from the word go. If you grow up in a family like that, all you know is what everybody's told you. You don't have your own unique thought, your own unique questions, your own unique journey. That's why when you like have moments where you like realize there's a higher power, it's so profound because it's not what's told to you. It's not a text that was passed down for eons. It's what you've lived in your life because you've been around long enough and you open yourself up to it.
Yeah, and that was a huge thing that I had to relearn of like what's true for me
Yeah,
and not what other people have told me or society makes me believe that I should or shouldn't do. And I mean, it's a whole process. And I mean, from a young age, I had this feeling. I mean, I went through depression and I questioned for so long, like, why did I come here? Why did I put myself through this?
yeah,
Um, and now that I'm at this point, I'm like, of course, like I can even look at other lives who struggle more than I would. And I don't know, it's this like sense of like, yes, I would choose that too, because of the things you learn through it. And you can't experience a physical world in a non-physical world.
yeah, yeah.
So, like, we experience everything here that isn't able to be experienced beyond here.
Right, for sure. So I'm going to take you back to that 12, 13-year-old realm of your life. What did you want to be when you were a kid? What was your dream job?
Hmm. You know, I always struggled with this question, but I think I always said a doctor.
Yeah,
And I don't know if it's because of like, oh, they can make a lot of money. I grew up with very little money. Um, so I think I always said a doctor. I loved watching like surgery shows.
yeah,
Like I didn't get grossed out about them. Like I
yeah,
could watch it all, cut people open.
yeah,
Um, but I think there was an aspect of always like wanting to help people too.
yeah,
Um, and that's where I struggled with civil engineering is like, yes, I'm helping people, but I often say I'm in land develop or I really was in land development where like I help, it's not completely true, but I help rich people get richer in a sense. They buy land and then they
yeah,
want to make money off of land.
yeah.
So yeah, I truly enjoy helping people and helping them, I guess, relieve suffering or realize what suffering truly is.
So take me back to your childhood. What were these elements of you wanting to help others and to also get to this crossroads where you figured things out and you kind of changed course in life? What were those early seeds that were planted that evolved into who you are today?
I I think people tended to come to me for help. I don't know if I necessarily noticed it back then as much because I was so lost in not in myself. I was doing things that really people were telling me to do. I was so excited to become an adult
Yeah.
to make decisions on my own. And I even see that in my daughters. I'm like, oh, you are my kid. Um, but yeah, I think I really had to find myself again to truly realize that I wanted to help people. I had to, the cliche saying, help yourself before you help others.
Yeah.
Um,
So who's been your inspiration? Who's been that heroic force that's been in your life that's allowed you to evolve to where you are today?
I've never been asked that question. I guess, I mean, I often say life was my teacher,
Yeah.
because for the longest time I had searched for like a specific teacher, someone to go to all the time. And I just couldn't find any specific person. I mean, I loved books. Adyashanti is a teacher, Rupert Spira, Michael Singer. Those were the three that probably like I followed for years and years, and I still listen to their stuff. Eckhart Tolle, I went to his retreat once. So just following, I guess following my own intuition
Yeah.
too. Like I
Yeah.
would just pull up YouTube and I'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna look at a video that resonates,
Yeah.
maybe one that comes up at top. And that's kind of how I followed this path, I guess.
So if you could meet one person alive on the planet right now that you find inspirational, fascinating, and you could spend some time with them and ask questions, who would you love to meet and talk to?
It's been coming up lately, but I think Eckhart Tolle.
Okay.
I've just always resonated with him. My grandma was from Germany, had the German accent,
Yeah.
but he also just has that presence of like I could just sit and not say anything with him.
Yeah.
Because I love silence, but there's such an awkwardness energy that comes in, and he wouldn't, I guess, have that.
Yeah. So what is the motivation for you to do the work that you do? To help change lives, to take care of your own soul, all of that holistically, to do it at a high level. What is that every day for you?
What's the motivation? Is that what?
Yeah, yeah. What gets you motivated to do it? I mean, when you're dealing with people and helping them with their lives, you have to kind of get into some murky things, but you also have a level of responsibility of being that one that's helping them get there. So it requires, I would imagine, a high level of energy. What is that motivating force for you?
I mean, this is the only thing in my life that I've ever been excited about.
Yeah,
Kind of like helping people realize what I realized. And I know it's something that you can't push on people either. Like
yeah,
people have to want to follow this path. Even my husband, I would try to like tell him like, "Oh my gosh, listen to this." And I mean, he's been learning through the process with me, but it's kind of letting go of the need to want everyone to know. It's allowing kind of people to come to you who want that.
yeah,
But yeah, I will have people say, like, I'm sorry if I'm talking about this. I know it's really heavy, and I really don't have issues with, I mean, I may feel energetically heavy, but I don't struggle with any stories. I actually love talking about death. Um, and yeah, it's exciting to me, all of this.
How do you protect yourself? Because you are getting into a lot of stories. The human trail can be full of all kinds of baggage. How do you protect and ground yourself so you stay clear and active and stay in that role of helping them.
Yeah, I think I do like burn sage. That sometimes helps if I remember. Um, and just noticing if I do feel any effects, that it's okay that I feel those things. And not trying, I never want to tell myself I shouldn't feel this. Like any negativity around like how you should or shouldn't be feeling, or I should have done something, it just adds to it and increases the negative energy or negativity that's going on inside you. So just kind of grounding myself here, giving myself time before and after. I've realized that's a huge thing instead of just jumping right back into something else.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into the 18-year-old version of you. You walk into a room, there's a film projector, and you click play, and there's a 60-second highlight reel of the life you've lived, the choices you've made. Would that young version of you believe your life turned out this way?
Hmm. That's a good question. I don't know.
Hmm.
Probably not. Um, I was very depressed when I was 18, so I probably wasn't thinking much about what my future would look like.
Yeah.
I mean, I attempted suicide, so I obviously didn't even want to be the person I was.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think I'm glad that the 18-year-old self didn't see where I am. I just turned 40.
Yep.
I because then it wouldn't my younger self wouldn't have gone through all those things. It would have always been hoping for that future moment.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing I talk about too, is like there's always happiness is always in a slightly more future moment. Like if I do these few things, then my life can be a little bit easier. Or then there's a lot of then in some future moment
Yeah.
instead of kind of following what is happening now. What can I kind of let go of right now that can kind of bring a little bit more joy, a little bit more ease into my life?
So in that 60-second highlight reel, what are you the happiest about, the proudest of?
That I finally trusted myself.
Yeah. So everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, everyone that knows you in different capacities, that you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are? Uh,
Is it the negative mind that keeps coming in? Because that still comes in.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Like, are you, I guess the 18-year-old self, the perception of me is probably saying, like, oh my gosh, she is amazing.
Right.
And I love that question because in our current state, we have so many things that we believe could be different. And like, that we think, like, oh, if just this little thing was different, I
Uh-huh.
could be more perfect.
Right.
So I loved that question.
Yeah.
Just going back and that younger self, what does she think? I don't know if that was your question, but
Yeah,
that was
it
really good
it
for me.
is. It yeah, yeah, no, it's reflective because it is good sometimes to look back because it's so long ago. So many things happen. And it's a part of I think what you're doing with clients is that we get so buried in life, you know? It's like all of a sudden we go from being kind of young to somewhat responsible in your 20s, not really knowing. And then if you have families and you get married and you do all this stuff, you get totally lost and all of these responsibilities and things that we're supposed to do as adults, and you don't really get back in and get to see the mirror. You don't get to see what's inside and how it works. So I think it's good to be reflective. Um, so, who is an ideal client for you? Anybody out there that's listening is absorbing what you're talking about? Who's the ideal client base that should be coming to you with questions and hiring you?
Yeah, I think someone who is kind of getting into maybe the spiritual side of things and feels very alone because that's what I went through. I felt so alone. Um, and is just struggling like to know where to go next. To know like they know that there's more, but what avenue do they go? What avenue do they go through? So they're wanting to know more out of life. They want more of the truth out of life, but the struggle, which causes more suffering. I mean, I tried therapy and that didn't help. It was like, I mean, it did help. I shouldn't say therapy doesn't help.
Right.
Um, but it's often kind of a stagnancy in therapy. Like there's more, like, yeah, there's more to life than kind of just getting by.
Yeah. So, with that in mind, if anybody wants to reach out, they have questions, they want to hire you, where do they go?
My website is livingfullywithsarah.com. Sarah's with an H. And then on Instagram, livingfully, period, with Sarah.
So, my last question to you is this. You know, I think sometimes it's easy when you get older, you think that things are different and you kind of start thinking about how the world's in a different place and it can be a little bit murky and dark, but we're going through some crazy things right now. How do you remain hopeful? How do you I mean, do you feel hopeful about the future and what we're going through and from a spiritual standpoint?
Yeah, this might sound bad, but I don't think about the future that much
Yeah,
because I wrote something down yesterday and actually, like, stressing about a future outcome always comes with anxiety.
yeah,
So it's like, what can I do now? Who in my circle now, my family, what can I do now to help the future? And it's not like I'm thinking about the future, but like, how can I help the, what can I personally do to help instead of worrying about the future? And yes, some people have bigger goals and plans to reach more and more people, and maybe I will, I don't know. But I think it comes down to, yeah, not worrying too much about the future because we don't know what
yeah,
it'll look like.
true,
But
true.
really coming back to like this current moment and what can I do to help myself and then help other people who are close to me.
Well said. Yep. I tend to be more of an existentialist because you just don't like, even with raising kids, like, yeah, they're going to get older. Things are going to happen down the line, but it's right now. The only thing that you can really worry about are all the things that are happening in front of us. And there's a lot happening in front of us. So it's
Yeah.
good to stay in the moment for sure. For sure. So I will put all these links in the show notes. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your time. Best of luck with everything. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I
You bet.
really appreciate it.